they can sit back and roll with the punches. They are playing the SpongeBob Lederhosen role here. So before we get going with video number 3, you may have mentioned that I make these videos in aid of a charity called Cure Parkinson's. You can guess what they're trying to do. There is a link to them below this video, one in the about section on the channel page. If you happen to have a spare dollar, euro, yen, yak or British pound you can send to them, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Okay, and into turn number 6, we're on with the dual monarchy of the Austro-Hungarian crown. They are in doo-doo. We have spoken before about that. There is the economic collapse point of 13 IPCs, which they have reached or have been enforced upon them by Italy taking 4 IPCs here. This one being contested by the Russians, 6 IPCs, and Russians have taken this place here for 3 IPCs. That makes the 13 points in total. Should they get up to 16 points, they suffer political collapse and are out of the game. So what can Austria-Hungary do? Well, they can't purchase, they can't place, they can't collect income. That's it for the moment. All that they can do, we figure, and we've been looking at the numbers carefully, studying these 4s and 3s and 6s and so on and so forth, is we can only try to hang on for our dear lives. If we attack from Vienna into Trieste or into Budapest or into Galicia, then we weaken our capital. And there is a route through for the Russian soldiers going through into Vienna, taking the capital. That's good night nurse, that is for sure. We can't move out of Bohemia and to support anywhere else, because that's another 3 IPC swing, which would take us from that 13 to the 16 for the political collapse. All we can do, we're trying desperately hard, is we're hoping that our German friends, or we're asking our German friends to stay here in Tyrol and hang on to this place for us against this Italian incursion and take these 6 guys. He's going to move forward into Vienna as a one-off boosty up, and the other 5 are going to go into Budapest. And rather than attacking, because it's a reinforcement move, because you're going into somewhere where your existing soldiers are, they can sit back and roll with the punches. They are playing the SpongeBob Lederhosen role here and taking whatever's going to be dished out to them. So that is it for Austria-Hungary. It's all we can do. It's not much, but it's the best we can hope for. And we think that we now have to wait and see what the Russians do in response to that. They may try and come down and take Vienna, but equally they may try and go through and hit the Germans up there in Prussia or Silesia, whatever else is they're going to try to be doing. So let me see what the Russians do and get back to you then. Russia have made up their mind in this turn, and there's many yellow spots, as you can see. My fuel gauges for my G40 game telling me or helping to tell me what I'm doing and where things are going. It's a little bit complicated, but stay with me on this. We've got these guys here in Moscow. They're going to come forward 2 spaces through the Ukraine into Galicia. They go through into there first. This plane can leave a contested area, provided it's going into another area where you've got its troops existing, and there's troops existing. So that goes into that space there. That one's done. We have 2 infantry guys from this group that are in here already. They're coming off of there and moving in to Budapest. So we've now got a bit more of a balance between the infantry and the artillery pieces in there being, I think it's 3 apiece. Or maybe 1 extra artillery piece in. Now I'm knocking things flying in, aren't we? Then we got some guys here in Poland that are already in here, and a guy here in Silesia that's already here. We're going to do a bit of a swapsy around with this. We're going to be taking this guy back here for reasons will become apparent, and these guys come forward. That is going to cause a battle up there. There's 1 battle to be decided upon. With this guy here, he can now catch these 2 tanks that are back in Moscow. They can roll forward into Poland, ready to come forward later on, and either into Silesia, Prussia, or come down through into perhaps Vienna. Let's not preempt the plans too much. So as we've got 1 battle up there to do, I shall flag that so I don't forget it. The guys in Budapest are going to have a battle in there as well. There's a second flag for that one. The third battle that would take place is these guys down here in Bulgaria. They're going to be having a bash at the Ottomans there, trying to knock out the Bulgarian contingent, who are friends with the Ottomans, should we say. a vassal, a subjugate, whatever you want to call it. And down in in Ankara, these guys are coming through from Sevastopol and having a fourth battle. So there is lots to look at, lots of fun to be had for the Russian player this time around. Whether or not it's successful, well, it's hardly going to be successful, but at least by coming down through here into Ankara, it's going to make the job easier for the Brits. But also what it does, it makes it a contested territory. By doing that, it's going to then throw the Ottomans into economic collapse as well. So the first battle is on the board. Let me have a quick sip of water and I will see you there. Okay, this is the battle for Silesia. On the Soviet side, we have 8 artillery, 4 infantry and a tank. And on the German side, not very much. I've all things in place. We're getting a bit of a bother now with the evening sun coming in, getting in the way of our lights and our boards and bits and pieces. But we do what we can do. So we have the 8 artillery units for the Russians, boosting up their 8 infantry, plus their 1 tanker which comes in here, which can absorb a hit as an attacking tank. Not as defending tanks, remember that. So we have all these guys at 3s. We have all these guys at 3, infantry, artillery, and the tanks are all going in at 3s. One massive dice roll, try and take out the Germans. I think we're going to do it in one roll. I'm pretty confident of that, and there is just a monster load of 1s and 2s there. No problem at all, not even going to bother looking at those and counting up properly. I'm like that, you know. We've got these 4 units now defending from Germany. Remember, 1 hit can be absorbed by the tank, and they've scored only just 1 hit themselves, the Germans. That gets taken away, as does their troops, without effect up here in Silesia, which is these guys here. Silesia will fall. That will change the IPCs later on. I'll do all that at the end. There's a Russian roundel, just to remind us we must do that in a mo. So, looking further down here into Budapest, which is that one down here, we have 4 artillery, which would be 4 dice in our artillery place, and 3 infantry, versus 6 units from the Austro-Hungarians. A little bit stronger than they want to go up against, but you can't have everything. So back into place again. This is what we got here. We got 4 guys boosting up 3 guys, so everyone goes in at 3 and scoring pretty heavily there. That's actually 5 hits. That's a lot stronger than they could have hoped for, I think. So 5 off the Austro-Hungarians, which takes that 1 chip away from them. Okay, they've got 6 guys in defence. They're looking at doing an equally devastating roll if they can. And it's pretty good. They're taking out 4 units from the Russian side there too. We can do that again just quick as we can, because we're rocking and rolling through this. 5 guys go from there. 4 go from here. That's 1, 2, and 3, 4. So nothing changes there in terms of the economies, but in the shape of the war, it's all bad. There's no good here for Austria-Hungary. They're going to get some blessed relief now. We're going down into into Bulgaria, where we have a very similar battle going off. It's 4 artillery and 3 infantry versus, I think it's 7 guys that are in there. So 4 artillery, 3 infantry versus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 makes 7. That's the dice rolls. Let's see how it shapes up. All these guys here, all going in at 3s because they're boosting enough artillery versus infantries. All trying to hit at 3s, and that's again another pretty reasonable roll by the Russian forces. That's 4 hits they've scored on the Ottomans down there. Ottomans have 7 dice in defence, all at 3s. And that's a bit of a poorer roll for them. They've just scored the 3 hits off of the Russian forces. Again, we can rush around and do that. No, we can't, because it's not easy to do my chips straight away. Well, we can actually. We take this chip off of there, this 1, and we take that 5 down to a 1, which means we've taken 4 off as prescribed, and 3 guys go from here, which is 1, 2 plus 1 artillery piece. So Bulgaria will remain, fumbly with my fingers, will remain contested, etc. It's not good there for the Ottomans. Down here is the last battle, which is in Ankara. And it's a lot harder battle for the Russians there. They just have 1, 2, 3 infantry plus the 1 artillery versus 4 guys. I'm bending down to look at those 4 guys there defending. I think it's really just as I said to you, a spoiler attack to help the Brits out later on. So it's just 1 guy gets booted up by the artillery. But there's 3 artilleries in there with, no, sorry, it's the wrong way round there, aren't we? It's 1 guy boosted up by the artillery. So we just get 2 at 3 and then 2 at 2. 1's hit and then 2's at 2's, other dice, and nothing happens there. So just 1 of the Ottomans gets removed from there. They try and hit back against the invading Russian forces and score only 1 hit themselves. They'd be disappointed with that, I think. With 1 going from each side, there's a Russian soldier going from there. There's an Ottoman guy going from there too. My fat fingers don't want to work today. They're getting a bit of arm wrestling going on there. Oh dear. Let me just tidy things up off camera because I'm not so fumbly that way, and sort out all the IPCs, and I get back to you when we get on to the who comes after the Russians? The Germans, of course. Of course it is. It's the Germans after that. We'll be looking a lot harder and a lot closer at that battle up there in Prussia, Silesia, wherever it's going to be, maybe even on the Western Front. Okay, we're on to Germany's turn on T6. Germany aren't in economic collapse. They can purchase new units, which they have done, which is going to be infantry, and only infantry. We split down some of their forces as well because we have this 1 guy here in the Ruhr holding his own. Should we back him out of the Ruhr, it allows anybody that's in there on the Allied side to come forward and start doing bashing. At least while he's here, he's holding these forces up. So splitting these guys down, a couple of guys go into Kiel, a couple of guys go into Hanover, along with their artillery pieces being done in that way. And we have to do a very similar thing from these guys. Sorry, Austria-Hungary, but we're coming out of there. Some of the guys there into Munich to hang on to this place as well, because the Ruhr could come down this way as well. So any more IPCs getting lost by the German player, they're in economic collapse as well. So we've weakened ourselves all over the place, but it's all that we can do, and placing 10 units into Berlin, which we hope will be enough to hang on for a tiny bit longer. It's not very much so, because all that the Russians have to do is walk into Prussia on their turn and start that collapse tumbling down. So that is it. Apart from changing our Kaiser Wilhelm, keeping him in Berlin as he should be for one of those subordinate soldiers there, that is the end of the German turn. I will see you on the French turn. Okay, we're on with the French now. We take the liberty of making a couple of moves off camera because we can do. The guy in Burgundy, he's been lost. The guy in Ruhr has been lost. That will free up the Brits to be able to go through on their turn when upcoming into either Kiel or Hanover, and the guys from Belgium can sweep through as well to support the guys that are already there. Similar things going to happen, we hope, as the French player down here in Alsace. We got a little bit behind in this battle versus the guys that are in here, the German guys that are in there. Should it be successful, then we could, and it's a very slim chance of being successful, it could free up the Americans to come through, although they're pretty weak there themselves. So that's the one that's up on the board. Everything else has been done off camera, including the purchases and movements down in Africa. But here is the battle that's here in Alsace. As you can see, we have an air-to-air battle goes off first. The French plane will roll in at a 1 or a 2, and it will miss. And the German plane will roll in at a 1 or 2, and it misses as well. We are going to both play green chips. I see no reason why the Germans wouldn't want air superiority with its 6 artillery in there, and the French need all the help that they can get. So this is going to be a continuation battle under our righteous air rules. France rolls in first with 1 dice and scores a miss, and the Germans roll in and they miss as well. This is poor dice rolling. Come on, France. What can you do? Miss again. All those 6s, Germany miss again. 4th round of the battle. We're going forward with this. France score a hit finally, and Germany They miss. That's pretty important in terms of that battle there. That German air is lost. That means they will not get the air superiority, which the French will enjoy now. So France's air unit again strafing the, drop the dice on the floor, strafing the ground units at a 1 or a 2. It misses, but all their artillery, 3 pieces, get boosted up to 4s and score 2 hits out of that. And the infantry running in with cover from the artillery pieces, they score 2 more hits as well. That's 4 off of the Germans. They will survive in there, but only by just. And the infantry artillery that's in there, and it's mainly artillery going in at 3s, have scored 4 hits themselves off of the French. So I shall take, one moment, I shall take off the 4 French pieces and 4 German pieces there in Alsace. And next up we'll be looking at the Brits, I think, sweeping through into Hanover or Kiel. Let me decide that in a mo. Okay, just tied up the end of the French turn. We managed to move the British units forward out of sequence a little bit, but it frees up the space to allow those French to move forward into Belgium. We were just running out of board space there. The Brits have moved forward from the Ruhr into Kiel, and the guys from Belgium that were British have moved into the Kiel. Guys have come across the English Channel. They're dropped into Belgium as well. For this battle up here, it's a pretty easy battle for the Brits, as far as I'm concerned. They've got 11 units in there as infantry, 3 artillery and a couple of tanks, versus just a 2+2 from the Germans. It's on the board, ready to go. And no mucking about. Brits are going to do this easily, we think. 3 infantry get boosted up by the artillery support, up to 3s. And I can see 3 hits straight away. We're looking at 1 more hit just to finish off the Germans in there. There's tanks, there's our infantry, all going in at 2s. And they've just scored 1 hit, that's all. That was a bit of a closer affair than we thought. But remember, we have got 2 tanks in there that can absorb any hits from the Germans, or 2 of the hits from the Germans, who roll in 2+2 at 3s and score absolutely nothing. Germany are in an absolute tatters right now. So Germany have been wiped out from Kiel up here. By going into the Kiel, it means that the minefield now doesn't apply to the Brits, because they have got the secret plans as to where their mines are. They control that minefield, and we can change some IPCs over onto the British side as well. There's a couple more battles that are going to take place. One moment. While I change the IPC tracker. So the other battles for the Brits, they are happening down here in against the Ottomans. The first battle that we're going to do will be Lawrence and his crew from Arabia, and the guys that are already here in Transjordan. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 7 guys running in there, plus 5 artillery, and they are facing very similar numbers, 4 infantry and 3 artilleries for the Ottoman forces. I've got it on the board as we speak. That's what it's going to look like. We have the 5 artillery pieces boosting up 5 of infantry, so we have 10 dice at 3 for the Brits, adding to the woes of the Ottomans. And they've scored really heavily. I think that's just 2 misses. I think that's already too much for the Ottomans to take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, without the 2 naked infantry running in there, and score another hit just to rub salt in the wounds. The 7 guys that are in there, infantry artillery from Ottomans, rolling in at 3s, and they've scored pretty well as well, but that's 4 off the Brits, and the Ottomans are wiped out from Transjordan, just down here. So all these guys here are all taken out, and we said that there was 4 Brits as well get lost. So we can take Lawrence's crew from below him, plus one of the guys off of there, which now adds to the British economy in Transjordan, and really adding to the entire woes of the Ottomans. One more battle will take place down here. We are going from Mesopotamia into the Syrian desert because we can. I think the Ottomans aren't going to bounce back against the Russian forces here, so why even bother to support them? There's no point in that. We're just going to have this roll down here for a bit of a fun, I think, more than anything else. So a couple of infantry, a couple of artillery versus 3 guys that are Ottoman-ish. That's on the board now. The Brits will roll 1-2 plus 1-2, or trying to hit at 3s. And scoring 3 hits, taking them out in one roll. Would you Adam and Eve it? And the 3 guys there defending at 3s score 2 hits as well themselves. So let me tidy all that up, and the next time I speak to you, we'll be on with the Ottomans in their reply somehow, somewhere, some way. Okay, on with the Ottomans now, and well, a victory for the Central Powers and the Ottomans being part of that is a long way over the rainbow. They are in economic collapse with all this advancement forward from the Brits and from the Ruskies, and they're only 1 point away, I think, after that from political collapse as well. So at the moment they cannot purchase, place or collect their income either. All they can do is move these guys from Constantinople, splitting off from leaving 2 behind to protect their capital in some kind of way, to protect Smyrna from the Brits coming through, because if they try and attack here in Ankara or try to come down and attack either guys here, you're going to be robbing Peter to pay Paul in terms of that political economic collapse figure that we're trying to avoid, both of them, but we're not going to do that for very much longer. So we move straight on to the Italians. They have got much more fun for them, as the game is much more fun so far for the Entente. I don't see it changing much from there. The Italians have got 11 guys in here, plus 3 artilleries, and they can see that Tyrol's been emptied out by the Germans moving back to protect their border. So these guys are going to go into here and have a pop at Tyrol. That will take the Austro-Hungarians further through their economic collapse to the point of political collapse as well. And just for the hell of it, they're going to pop from Serbia into the other guy in Serbia there because they can, because they're Italian and they're nasty like that. The first battle is on the board. This is the guys from Venice going against Tyrol. Let's just pull back so we can see what's happening. And that's how it looks. It's not too terrible for Germany. Got a few dice in there versus what the Italians have, but it's not wonderful either. So with nobody sporting air this time, it is 3 plus 3 infantry artillery combinations for the Italians, rolling at 3s and getting 4 hits. Those 2 are misses. Germany won't be happy with that. These guys here are now all going in at 2s, looking for another 4 or 5 hits, if at all possible, and they've got 3 of them. Yep, another 3 hits out of that. So that is 7 units in total. So I think Germany do survive there, but only just. So 6, 7, 8, 9 for Germany, all at 3s, trying to defend the Tyrol, but obviously that now goes into contested, and they only scored 3 hits, the Germans. They would not be happy with that at all. So we can put a one second, we can put an we can put a Italian roundel onto here and adjust the figures on my chart in a second. I shall remember to do all that, honestly, and I put a little token, he says reaching rudely across, just to remind me I haven't done that one yet. And we've got this battle down here. Well, it's hardly a battle really, is it? We have 1, 2 infantry artillery combinations, 2 guys on their own, and then we have the Austro-Hungarian guy there trying to defend his borders stoutly and bravely. 2 at 3 from Italy. One's rolled off the board, but one's already hit anyway. We haven't got to roll any more dice. That guy is lost and gone. And we have this one guy from Austria-Hungary saying, "Mein Gott." And he scores a hit nicely, taking out one of the Italian invading forces down here. But he is now gone. one of these has gone, and the IPCs from Serbia will return to the Russians, not to Italy, because it's a Russian affiliated place. Let me tidy all that back up again, and I will look at the American move, which is probably just going to be running their boats. Oh, sorry, just bashed the camera. Running their boats back across the Atlantic up here to pick some more guys up and bring them through, but it's hardly going to be worth any kind of battling, I don't think. So I think next time I speak to you, we will be on with the Austria-Hungarians in turn number 7 and seeing how far forward they can advance. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, leftovers from the end of turn number 6. America have got themselves across the Atlantic, got some guys into Picardy. That's all we really need to know about that. The other bits and pieces, with Germany, that attack that I made, Italy versus Germany, trying to defend the Austro-Hungarians bits there, you know what I mean. We credited Germany with 1 dice too many, but in the greater scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because we really are flogging a dead horse here. All we can do, now we're on to the Austria-Hungarian turn, because they are in political and economic collapse. They cannot purchase, they cannot place, they cannot collect income. All we can think we can do is move some guys out of Vienna into Budapest. This is a 6 IPC venue, defended only by 3 units. If we can get this place back again, we can stretch this game out for 1 more round. But we are asking a heck of a lot of our patience, if nothing else. The battle is on the board, ready to go. Austria-Hungary would have 3, wrong way around. They have 3 infantry and 2 artilleries. So we boost up those guys there to a 3, trying to mash the Russian soldiers and score 3 hits straight out of the bat. That's hit after the boundary before, that's for sure. And the Germans, the Russians, in reply, have scored 2 hits back on them. So that's pretty nice now. So we can take out of this region these 3 guys and take out 2 guys from here. It does mean that the Austro-Hungarians will get the 6 IPCs back for that. It will refresh their economy. I believe it takes them back out of political and economic collapse. It gives them some money, but I think it's only really going to be a holding account ready for when the Russians come through and nab Vienna next turn. Let's see how that one plays out. Okay, we are on to the Russian turn now. I'm trying to desperately avoid any kind of corny gags. Russia are rushing in and we are rushing to the end of this game, only because we are stretching it out way beyond anything that's sane. We got these 3 guys here running in from Galicia into Budapest, carrying their little shield behind them and putting Austria-Hungary back into economic and political collapses as we expected. The other guys here from Galicia, along with the plane, and these guys here that are in Poland, go through Silesia and into Berlin, because we can run through our own friendly territories, because it's friendly now, we've captured it. It puts a massive force of Russians into Berlin. It puts Germany into economic and political collapse as well. So all that can happen after that is Germany, after defending here valiantly, will be able to send these guys in on their turn to try to get rid of the Russians from there. It may or may not happen, we do not know. But the first thing we have to do is roll this battle down here. It is 3 Russian guys running in, stout and hardy, good and true, rolling 3 dice at 2s and scoring just the 1 hit. And in reply, the Austro-Hungarians have 3 at 3 and score 1 hit themselves. So we're just going to move a couple of chips from there. 1 and 2. And that leaves the place contested, as we mentioned before. Everything else up there has already been done. I did point that out to you. We have some reinforcements on the board coming through and so on and so forth. So, for the battle in Berlin, with all those Russian guys getting up there, we have their 1 plane, which is taking air superiority, which will boost up all their artilleries, which is 8 pieces in there, to 4s. It will boost up 8 infantry up to 3s, and they're also getting 3 tanks in there to absorb some hits in attack. So all these guys are going in at 4s first. looking at a big hit if we're Russian supporters. And it's a monster hit, absolutely monster of a hit. We've just have one miss there out of 8 dice. They're all 3s and 1s. That will be 7 damage off of the Germans first. Then the artillery covered infantry runs in at 3. And there's a cocky dice in the middle there, but that's still 3 more hits. I believe we've already done more damage than we need to. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We've actually got to that damage point there without rolling in the naked infantry and the tank, which scores 2 more hits. It is overkill, but nothing succeeds like a toothless budgie, and one of those falls in and the plane strafes them as well. Oh, woe is the Germans. They have got 10 guys there to roll in defence, all at 3s. What can they do? Oh, dropping dice and smashing the camera, I do apologise. And they're rolling at 3s, and we've got 3 hits, just the 3 hits from the German guys. Let me get that up on the board and adjusted. We can see what we're doing. I'll see you in a sec. So if you could excuse my shaky camera work, that is how it looks in Berlin right now. The tanks absorbing those 3 hits which the Germans tried to inflict on the Russians meant they bounced off going pew pew and did no damage at all. So that is how it looks. There is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 German units capable of getting into Berlin to try to mount an attack. They cannot even wipe out all of the Russian infantry that are in there, let alone the tanks and artillery that will be shooting back at them along with their air cover. So I'm calling it done and done. Let's just go back to the big camera first. And that is the state of play of the board. Obviously, this game was severely compromised, I think, by the poor roll right from turn 1, where the Italians bashed back against the Austro-Hungarian forces in an overly strong manner, but that's the way the dice rolls go sometimes. And I think also, and I'm going to blame myself for this entirely, the weakness of the Ottoman attack versus Egypt. Should the Ottomans have got through into Egypt as early as I would hope them to have done, and not gone too many ways all at once and gone into Mesopotamia and tried to get the Brits bashed out of India very early on, I think the Austro-Hungarians could have been helped out by the Ottomans coming through this way a lot sooner, or even at all, because they had no help at all in this game from the Ottomans. But that is it. We are done and done in this very interesting game, 1914. The Larry Harris tournament awards you can get from .org, perhaps even BGG, and you'll find my Righteous Air rules on BGG as well, the 1914 file section somewhere. Look for the 2 or less. I'll stick them up there sometime soon. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, be cool.